Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
What does a man do? A man provides for his family. And he does it even when he's not appreciated, or respected, or even loved. He simply bears up, and he does it because he's a man.
I think people struggle a lot with the concept that something can be both painful and empowering. It's this hurts, therefore it's bad. When taking full accountability of your life with all of the deficiencies that you have may be the most painful thing that you do when you look at yourself in the mirror and say, this is my fault. But in saying, this is my fault, those are also the first two steps of progress, because it's my fault, not anyone else's, which means it's my responsibility and my action that can change that. And I think that marrying short-term pain with long-term progress is one of the first connections that most people who are on that path have to make. And so in a world where it's never been easier to do nothing, doing something becomes extraordinary.
Be a dangerous man. Now, being dangerous is not being a threat. They're two different things. All right? And it's not about going out and lifting weights and getting a bunch of tattoos and wearing leather jackets and walking around with your chest and shoulders up, hulking around saying, I'm dangerous. That's very rarely is that a dangerous man. Often the most dangerous man in the room is the quietest man in the room. And lastly, be wise. Now, wisdom, it's a lifetime of study, wisdom is. And wisdom is not what you know. Wisdom is knowing how to apply what you know. You know, the saying is, wisdom is knowing that tomato is officially classified as a fruit. That's knowledge. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is classified as a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. You don't have to open your mouth and dump out everything that's going on in your brain. You don't have to tell people everything you know. You start where you are today and you say, I wish I was that man right there. But I'm not. And I don't mean that particular person. I mean that kind of man. I wish that is the kind of man that I was. If you were to leave this world tomorrow, would you leave a hole? Become the man that leaves a big hole when you leave this world.
To be a man is very simple. You need only two things. You need a spine and you need some balls. That's it. If you have a spine and you have some balls, then you're a man. And just so we're clear, I'm not talking literally. All humans have a spine and all males have balls. What I'm talking about is a spine and a pair figuratively. It's simple, but not necessarily easy. Let's talk about each one individually, shall we? First, what does it mean to have a spine? A spine means that you are willing to stand up. Anatomically, you need a spine to stand erect. Figuratively, you need a spine to stand up for what you believe to be true, which is, in your heart of hearts, who you are. And this, of course, presupposes that you actually know what you believe to be true, and this ain't easy. Most of the things in your head were put there by other people, and a lot of that stuff is total garbage. For most people, it takes years and years of patient self-study to learn what they believe to be true. So young guys get a pass here, though it's important to acknowledge that we tend to make their jobs harder by filling them up with so much distracting nonsense to begin with. However, there are many older guys, men who I speak with on a regular basis, who don't know what their values are, don't know what they believe to be true, and consequently don't know who the fuck they are. And how are you going to stand up for something if you don't know what that something is? Now, having a spine also lets you know where you stand in relation to the universe. This is because as soon as you stand up, you cast a shadow, which situates you in a specific place between the heavens, literally the sun, and the earth, your immediate surroundings. Unless you are completely in line with the light, there is no way to avoid casting a shadow on this plane. Among other things, this means that as soon as you stand up, that is, as soon as you make it known who you are and what you believe in, you will attract an antithetical element in opposition to that, the shadow. People will disagree with you. People will disapprove of you. Some people will despise you. And the taller you stand, the more some people will threaten, attack, and seek to destroy you. This is part of the risk of standing up and having a spine. And this, of course, is why we rightly respect people who stand up for what is right, despite the personal risk of doing so. What's strange is that the alternative to doing this, that is, remaining spineless, isn't all that great either. You go through life never really knowing who you are and what you believe in. It often happens that some people do know who they are and do know what they believe in. However, they're never able to find their place in the world because they weren't willing to stand up from their hiding places and say, "This is me." This is because doing so requires the second ingredient, a pair of balls. Having a pair means that you're willing to suffer the risk associated with being somebody, a specific individual with values and beliefs. It means putting your money where your mouth is. It means not giving a shit whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Not giving a shit whether you approve or disapprove of me. Not giving a shit if you love or hate me. It means, if necessary, putting your money, your relationships, your career, your status, your reputation, and even your life on the line in the service of what you believe to be true. If you have a spine with no balls, you spend your life hiding. Hiding from your friends, hiding from your women, and ultimately, hiding from yourself. We respect those who are willing to hold the line and stand up for what they believe in, regardless of the consequences. Paradoxically, we like those who don't seem to care whether we like them or not. On the other hand, we typically have neither respect nor appreciation for those who do things so that we might like them. Let's recap. If you know who you are, what you believe to be true, and if you're willing to stand up and risk it all in the service of those beliefs, in the service of your mission, then congratulations, my friend, you are a man. You do not need to grow a beard. You do not need to hunt or care about football or drink everyone under the table or plow through half the women in town. You need a spine and some balls. If you have all the other things, but you don't have a spine and some balls, then you're not a man, in my opinion. And if you have none of those other things, but you do have a spine and some balls, then you're a full-fledged man.